Oh, sounds beautiful. I think it's kind of east of California off the top of my head. I may be completely wrong, but there's a stab in the dark. We've got Sue from Denver. Someone from Virginia, Nikki from Atlanta, Massachusetts, Doreen, Shirley, Dan from New Zealand, Nicole from London, England. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Austin, Texas, Zian. Loads of people from Deborah from Oz, London, someone from Quebec. Too many people to read, to be honest, but I wish I could say hello to you all. Sharon from, someone from Northern Ireland. Tahoe's beautiful. Come visit. Thank you very much. I will do, hopefully one day. Lisa from UK. So whilst everybody's joining, I've got a quick poll and then we'll get started. So here's the poll. No polls have been shared just yet. Let me share my poll. Here we go. Share now. Boom. Alrighty. So this just helps me get a better idea of kind of where you're coming from, what kind of issue you have with your dog. So let me know, what type of reactivity or dog aggression does your dog have? Is your dog generally reactive? So wind, cars, chasing cats, noises, just generally fearful maybe, or reactive and barking towards people and things at the front gate and front door and dogs and everything. Or is your dog reactive towards people, kind of specifically, unpredictable around people when they maybe pat them or get close when they see them? Is your dog reactive around the property? That's the front door and kind of around the fence line. Or is it towards dogs in a dominant way, where your dog rushes up to the dog and is kind of proactively reactive? Proactively reactive, that's a good term. Or is your dog only reactive if they have to be, because they're on a leash and they're backing away, and then at the last minute, if they have to, they'll bark and woof. So generally reactive is by far and away the biggest issue that you guys are facing, which is good. Whatever the issue you're facing, this webinar is going to cover it off, because this webinar is about the foundation piece that's usually missing, nearly always missing. And I'm going to share that with you now. So that's great. Looks like everybody who's going to be joining us has joined us here today. So, well, welcome Patty from Michigan. Alrighty, let me share. I'm gonna shut down and close my chat so I can stay focused on what I'm sharing with you today. Just so you know, we have Graham who is moderating. Thank you, Graham. However, I am not looking at any of your questions or anything in the chat because I'm focused on this. Alrighty. So what I'm going to share with you now is how to stop reactivity without food bribes, tricks, or force. So it is a radically different approach to dog training, because I'm sure you know that 99% of dog trainers are either using food treats or some force of kind of correction. And this isn't using either of those really. It's a very different approach. I like to think of it as the dog's approach. It's dog psychology more than anything else. And I believe it's the missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle, which when you put this in place properly and you do it well, you end up with a different dog. The emphasis is in doing this method properly, not skimming the surface, not just dabbling and dipping your toe in, but doing it really well. And it's called the dog calming code, because that's what it does to your dog. There's 5 rules. That's what we're going to be covering off. Let's get started. So before we begin, let me ask you, dare to dream. Because the definition of insanity is repeatedly doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. And that applies to more than just dog training, But specifically with dog training, I see people who've been using the same approach and they're clearly not getting results, And then they up it a level, and the trainer says, "Oh, you should let me take your dog for a week or 2 of board and train." And people end up spending thousands and thousands of dollars on board and train and this training, and it takes months and months. They get very little results. It doesn't have to be that way. And what I'm asking you to do today is just lay down all your preconceived ideas about what you know and how much you know. And I'm happy to do the same. I do the same all the time. I know that there's a lot I don't know. However, I'm asking you right now just to imagine that there may be a different approach to dog training that you've never come across. And where I'm coming from, I just would like to share this, is the dogs are my judge. Having worked with a number of dogs, which I'll share with you in a minute, I know this is super powerful because I've had the feedback. I'm lucky enough to have had the feedback Well, I'll share with you. I've been to 3,500 houses and done a one-on-one consult with people. And the results were phenomenal. As you can imagine, nearly every single person had used the typical methods before I turn up. And I'm not a magician, but this is as close to magic as you're going to get. So there's 3 parts to this webinar. I'm going to share very quickly and briefly where I'm coming from, my journey with dog reactivity as Doggy Dan, then why your dog has reactivity. I'm going to frame this approach, and then I'm going to share with you how to solve this using this actual method, the dog coming code, these 5 rules. But I want to start with this. If we want to communicate with the dogs, we need to learn their language. And a lot of dog training that's out there is not really speaking the dog's language. It's not understanding you need to think like a dog to help a dog sort of thing. It's basically saying, I want the dog to behave like this. So, this is how we're going to do it using, I want the dog. We're basically trying to train the dog to do what we want them to do before we've come into relationship with the dog. And it just doesn't sit well with me because we're not speaking the dog's language. And so, look, I do this partly because it pays the bills, but also, this is my full-time job, but also because I believe I owe it to the dogs. I'm like a voice for the dogs who've got no voice. And this is the approach they would choose. And why I have such a deep affiliation for helping the dogs is when I was a young man growing up in the northeast of England, a place called Newcastle upon Tyne, I struggled to connect with people. And maybe some of you, even now you're fully grown, like me, a grown up, you still kind of love dogs more than people in a way. And that's where I'm coming from. When I was young, I struggled to connect with humans as much as I did with the dogs. I fell in love with the dogs. I've always loved dogs. And I realize now it's because they're authentic, they're true, they speak from their hearts, they act from their hearts, I should say. And that's very much me. So that's where I'm coming from. I never had a dog growing up. These weren't even my dogs. They're just dogs that I came across, and you can see the passion I had for them. Absolutely happy as can be. My mum was terrified of dogs, so we never owned one. Now I live in New Zealand with my wife and 2 children. We've been together 26 years. I play soccer, kite surf. I've got a greenhouse. I love camping, the outdoors, and of course walking the dogs. Did a huge walk with the dogs yesterday. A lot of fun. They needed it. And this is before I became Doggy Dan. I was a maths teacher, a civil engineer, and a policeman. So I'm very logical. I can study probability to a high extent. I love studying probability, understanding that. And also I'm skeptical and I check everything 5 times. So before I became Doggy Dan, that's where I came from. Now, like I say, I've been to 3,500 people's houses, but I've also worked with 100,000 dogs online. I've helped 100,000 dogs with a program called the Online Dog Trainer. And that is something at the end of this, when some of you are like, wow, this is absolutely amazing, I want to know more, I will take you into that program and share with you, if you want to get hold of that program, how you can get hold of that program, because it is super powerful. And I know many of you are going to be like, whoa, I want to get hold of this, Dan. It's amazing. So podcast, TV shows, Dog Almighty, I was the judge on a TV show, 13 episodes. I was the judge, a lot of fun. Real Housewives of Auckland. I wrote a book, which Random House Penguin Book Publishing asked me to write. They published that, TV, radio, and that's that. So that's about me. Let's get into this actual methodology. The problem with most of the dog reactivity training today is it revolves around treating the symptoms, not the root cause. So we're often using food or force to bribe and pressure dogs into changing their behavior. But we're not addressing the root cause, remember. And this slow approach to training results in the training that's long, slow, requires a lot of energy and money because we're not addressing the root cause. When we treat the cause of the problem and we convince our dogs we're capable leaders in every situation, training them becomes so much easier. That is my experience. That is what I've shared with 3,500 people. That's their experience. That's what 100,000 people have experienced online. And that's what I'm going to share with you right now, that there's an underlying layer. There's like the foundation piece. And when you address this, rather than the fluffy stuff, it's, the training, trying to get the dog to listen to you and do what you want them to do. When you address the underlying issue, everything changes. So there's a lot of reactivity at the minute, and possibly down to COVID and lockdowns, but it was happening before that. We were kind of becoming more and more distant from our dogs. And I believe it's because a lot of the training is not addressing this underlying cause. It's treating symptoms. It's like a Band-Aid. So whether you've got a dog who's barking out the car window or nervous or fearful around dogs or chasing cats or chasing people or just not listening, scared, nervous, dominant, whatever. Most dog training out there is treating symptoms. And there's two main types of dog training out there. One is correction-based. And nearly all the time, correction-based results in dogs getting a shock collar. So 2 bolts go on the side of the dog's neck and you electrocute the dog when it does something that you don't want them to do. It's got nothing to do with dog psychology. It's more like the carrot and the stick. It's very basic. It's the carrot and the stick is not dog psychology, because you can apply carrot and the stick psychology to anything, to a donkey, to a chicken, to a fish. It's just give them pain and something unpleasant when they do something you don't want them to do. You can reward them when you give them something. It's not dog psychology. So that's what a lot of people are using, a lot of dog trainers. I'm not a big fan, never used shock collars, because I've discovered this method and it works and it's powerful. The other approach is positive reinforcement, is the general term given to it. You give the dog a treat when they do something you want in the hope, and it works to a degree, that they'll do more of that. You call your dog and you give them a treat, they learn their name and they learn recall. It's great. You say sit and you raise your finger and they sit. It's great. Yeah. You reward them for doing a pee-pee outside when they're a puppy. Brilliant. I'm all for using treats for that stuff. Happy with that. But if somebody tells me that you can solve reactivity in the best way, the most powerful way is just to use treats, it's about as powerful for me as saying, if you want to be a great parent, if you really want to win your child's mind, if you want to win the child's mind so that they love you and follow you and they're calm and relaxed and listen to you as a parent, if you want to be a great parent, all you need is a good bar of chocolate and some good games. Whatever. No. I got 2 kids. You can't fool me. If parenting was that easy, all you need is a good bar of Hershey's or Cadbury's chocolate bar. Telling your kid to turn their iPad off and go to bed, turn the lights out, here's some chocolate. No, it's not that easy. So parenting is more, there's more to it. You got to win the child's mind. You got to win their respect and their trust, and vice versa. There's more to it. And it's the same with your dog. CEOs of a company understand there's more to getting staff motivated and working for you and than just paying them. There's more than just the payment. Same with sports coaches. You can't just punish a team and make them do press-ups to get them to perform well. Same with teachers and children and parents and kids, and same with dog owners and dogs. There's this connection, this bond, which is so powerful. And I'm lucky enough to have worked at a doggy daycare for many years. And this is Hudson, who was the king of all the dogs. And I saw it with him. When he turned up, all the dogs behaved. And a lot of it was because he knew how to win their respect. He had their respect. He had their trust. When he turned up, everything calmed down. And I studied him for many years and realized, wow, that's not even my dog. It's just somebody's dog who was the king. And they sent me, they wrote this inside saying, thank you, Dan, when he passed away. Thank you for looking after Hudson, for understanding him. And he just reminds me, this is the dog's approach. Now, the other thing about what I call old school dog training is it takes multiple sessions, many sessions. Then you end up at the board and train, where you think your dog's getting this kind of lovely, cute training, but the reality is it's more shock collars, and you pay thousands of dollars. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not a big fan of that stuff, and I don't think you will be. Once you've discovered this and put it in place and got phenomenal results, you'll be like, wow, this is sensational. Now, the good news is, what I've found is all the dogs who are nervous, fearful, reactive, aggressive to people or dogs, they're not doing that for the fun of it. They're doing it to survive and to stay safe. And what they're really looking for is leadership. Rather than training even, they were looking for leadership, somebody who can step in and say, hey, I got this. I know what's going on. When you get that bit right, everything changes. And so this analogy will help you understand where I'm coming from and how everything changes. And the training becomes so much easier. All training, the dogs behave, they listen to you. Command training is easier. It's easier to calm them down. They don't have separation anxiety. They don't follow you around. They're not panting. They're not stressed. They're not nervous. This analogy will help you understand how everything changes when you get that one foundation piece right. And I just want you to transport yourself back to a classroom where you've got a teacher who was really, really good. Little old lady. She's been doing this 30 years. And she says to the children as they come in, sit down, turn to page 33, get your books out, be quiet, and start making notes. And everybody does exactly as she says. It's quiet. They respect her, they trust her, they're listening to her, they do exactly as she says. She could ask them to do anything, they'd do exactly as she says, because she's won their hearts, their minds, their respect, their trust, and vice versa. Now, at the end of that lesson, another teacher comes in. Young male teacher, inexperienced. He says the same sort of stuff. He says, turn to page 45, get your books out, sit down, be quiet, start making notes. Nobody's listening. Nobody listens. He raises his voice. The kids don't listen. Chaos, mayhem. Kids are wandering around. He's saying, sit down. They're not sitting down. He says, be quiet. Stop talking. Get your books out. Nobody does it. Paper airplanes. The question is, do the children need more training? Of course, the answer is no. They don't, because we know they understand what sit down means. They know what be quiet means. They know what get your books out means. They know what start, because they've just had a lesson with another teacher and they did all of that. So they don't need more training. And if you get this analogy, you'll understand what I have seen thousands and thousands of times of people saying, my dog's a bad dog, or my dog's naughty, doesn't listen, he's stupid, or he's, and then I turn up and they're saying it's because he barks all the time at the window and we shout, stop it, knock it off, and he won't. And he won't walk on the leash and he jumps and he won't calm down. He follows and he licks and he's attention-seeking nightmare. I turn up and within half an hour, we got this dog who's just lying in the bed, relaxed. Even when cars go by, and he normally attacks the window to try and get to the cars, and dog's calm. And the owners are like, I don't believe it. I've never seen him do that before. And then I explain what I'm doing and what I've done, and they go, wow, we've been doing everything wrong. I don't believe it. So that's where I'm coming from, guys. I've seen dogs where they have all these issues, and you get this bit right, and the dogs are happier, they're more relaxed, they switch off. That's why we call it the dog calming code. Bit like at a dinner party, when you're not in charge, you can relax. You're happy, you can just drink and eat and have fun. But somebody's got to be in charge. Somebody's got to check the door, cook the meal, make sure everybody's being served, maybe make sure everyone's got nibbles and their drinks are full. It's bad enough when it's a human having to do all that. But when your dog thinks they're in charge, taking care of everybody and everything, it's a nightmare for them. So think of it as this. There's leadership and there's training. Leadership is the cake. Training is the frosting. And what I'm going to share with you now is the piece that's always missing in dog training when I go to work with people, the leadership, the cake. People have got plenty of frosting training. We've got flirty poles and whistles and harnesses and muzzles and devices and gadgets and widgets and jackets you can put on the dog and to keep them from being stressed and to give them a job, and long lines and short lines. And I got a load of that stuff too. It's great. Some of it. It's very useful. But what's more powerful than all that gadgets and widgets and training and frosting is a cake. You get a cake right, He didn't have any frosting. He didn't have anything. Dogs in the wild, wolves they don't have any frosting. They just are. When they turn up, everything changes. So you get it right, everything changes. The dog calming code helps all this stuff. So let me dive into it in more detail. Now we're getting into the actual psychology piece. That's the framing. This is the psychology now. And then we'll get into the 5 golden rules, which comprise the dog calming code. So, sorry, hang on. Let me just get that right. So, to help a dog, you got to think like a dog. You can't think like a bird. You can't think like a cat. You can't think like a fish. And you can't think like a human. You have to think like a dog. You have to use dog psychology. And where your dog is coming from is they're 99.9% the DNA of a wolf. They can breed with a wolf. They have evolved from wolves. I repeat, they can breed with a wolf. There's wolf dogs out there. I've got friends who've got wolf dogs. And they tell me this method absolutely works with wolf dogs, which is pretty impressive because they are strong-willed animals, very strong-willed. And this is the basics. They understand that there's leaders and followers. So in the wild, there's like a breeding pair, and the wolves underneath will moan and groan about who's in charge, but they know it's a bit like sibling rivalry. It's like, nah, there's the breeding pair in charge. So there's leaders and followers. That's the only thing I really want you to take out of this, that you want to be the leaders, not your dog. You want the humans at the top and dog at the bottom. And what 99.9% of people I've worked with have, if not 100%, the dog thinks they're more in charge than you want them to, and they see themselves as looking after you. So how do we flick that around? That's what we're going to cover off here. That's what the dog calming code is. You got to think like a dog. You got to see it through their eyes. You can't see it through the human's eyes and go, oh, this is how I see it. I've got a Visa card. I've got a nice house. I've got a good car. I bought the food. No, that doesn't mean you're in charge in your dog's eyes. That means nothing at all. So in the same way that if your dog runs into the bushes and there's a gold crown and a dirty old bone, every dog comes running out with a dirty old bone. That's got more value to your dog. That isn't trained in your dog. You don't train that. That's dog psychology. That's ingrained in it. It's intuitive, it's instinctive. It's just already there in their DNA. So all of this that I'm going to share with you is already in your dog's DNA. It's like they know the rules to this game already. Just want to warn you. So when I share this with you, you're like, is that the game that my dog's playing? Yes, 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 yes. So here's the first rule of 5. This is the dog calming code. I'll go through these and here you'll kind of go, oh, wow, I start to see the picture now. I didn't really realize what was going on. So there's 5 rules for making sure your dog knows you're in charge. This is the foundation. This is the reason most dogs are just out of control and nervous and shut down and being dominant, because they're kind of like in their minds, they're running the show. First rule, feeding. The pack leaders eat first. So you've got to see it through your dog's eyes that the food is the most important thing in your dog's life. You know, in the wild, there's often not enough food. So those in charge eat first to stay strong. If they don't eat enough, if they eat last, there's probably none left. They'll get skinny and they won't be in charge anymore. So the order in which your dogs eat is massively important. Now, it's not just dogs, to be honest, who have that kind of rule embedded in them. Like there's even a pecking order with chickens. I got chickens. You should see the pecking order. It's phenomenal. Once you spot it, she eats before her, she eats before her, and she eats before her. And if that one wants that food, she pecks her off. So one very clever way of saying to your dogs, I eat first, other than obviously having your breakfast before your dog and having your dinner before you feed your dog, which is very, very powerful. You want to put that in place. But you can also do something called gesture eating. And that's where you basically get your dog's bowl, put the dog food in the bowl, and all you do is get a bit of biscuit, bread, cake, bun, apple, anything. You eat it from above the dog's bowl before saying to your dog, sit and put the bowl down on the ground. And then you say to the dog, okay, now you can eat. So you've eaten from above the dog's bowl before you put it down. You don't have to do this for every meal. You do it 2 or 3 times a week for a couple of weeks, on and off. And that's a powerful way of saying I eat first. Now, there's another thing you want to make sure is don't leave bones, rawhide, or pig's ears lying around, because that's all food to your dog. And if your dog is burying bones and hiding them and controlling bones, your dog's in charge. Literally, it's so incredible. A little bit of pig's ear hidden under the couch. It can have an incredible impact on your dog's behavior because they're controlling food. So you can give them things to eat, but don't let them graze. Don't let them nibble a bit and hide it and come back later and next day and bury it in the garden. And of course, when it comes to eating food, if your dog doesn't eat all the food, you pick it up immediately. That's grazing. You don't want to have a dog grazing. That's not good. Alrighty. That's rule 1. Now, moving on to rule number 2, danger. By danger, I don't mean a burglar. I mean, for example, a boy on a bike rides past the house. You want to remain calm, relaxed, and use low energy. So rather than getting excited because the boy's come past and the dog's excited and the dog's barking, you're shouting, knock it off, and the dog's barking, and you're going, knock it off, and the dog's barking, I'm barking as loud as I can, and the boy goes, and dog comes over, and you pat the dog. That communicates to your dog that you're stressed. The dog's protecting the property pretty much, and you're getting stressed, and the dog's doing a good job of protecting, and finally you say, well done, thank you for protecting us. The boy's gone, dog gets a pat. It's a vicious cycle. It becomes hard to stop. So what I want you to do is this: 3 power moves. First time your dog barks, just say, thank you. You don't even have to move. That just says to your dog, don't worry about it. Your dog will hear you, but may carry on barking. Now, so if they carry on barking, what I want you to do is walk over to where your dog is, have a little look out the window, make sure they can see you, and then say, thank you, and turn and walk away. It says, I've had a look, don't worry. Now, basically, your dog will either be quiet, which is great, or they'll make another noise. They'll bark. If they bark again, I want you to take them by the collar or put a slip leash off or pick them up and lead them and put them into timeout for a little bit so they can think about what they've done. And that calms the overstressed dog. Rather than you shouting and them barking and everything's stressed and them seeing you panicked, you barely say anything. You just say, thank you, and then Let them out when they're quiet. Less is more. This is such a powerful thing to put into place. And of course, this allows you to say, hey, I'm the calm leader here. I'm the calm decision maker. I don't get flustered and stressed. And there's that poem, I think it's by Rudyard Kipling. It says, if you can keep your head whilst all around you are losing theirs, it's very powerful. If you can keep your head and stay calm when everyone else, when your dog's getting more stressed, so powerful. And you start in the house doing it, and then when you're outside, it has that flow-on effect. That's rule number 2, people. All right, moving on to rule 3. After separation, ignore. No touching, eye contact, or speaking. This is a bit controversial. I get it. We all love patting our dogs and cuddling our dogs. I do too. But it's almost like you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't break the rules and then expect the dog to behave a certain way. Let me explain how it works in the wild, and then you'll understand where I'm coming from. So in the wild, the wolves stay together most of the time. They only separate when they go hunting. They hunt big animals. So some stay behind with the pups, and they go hunting big animals. You know, deer, elk, and caribou, big animals. They get kicked in the head, broken leg. They can get injured. So when they come back together after they've been hunting, there's like a roll call after a battle, checking, are you fit? Are you healthy? Are you injured? Because if they're injured, they've got a broken leg, they don't want the alpha or the male who's in charge to be in charge, because he's not going to go hunting for 3 months because he's got a broken leg. So if one of the breeding pair, for example, is injured, they'll kind of get replaced. They'll just say, you're not in charge anymore, I am. So that's why when they come together, you see them doing this kind of bit of a scrap. One submits, one dominates, to get them kind of around the neck maybe and pin them to the ground. It all looks a bit scary, but they're just saying, I'm in charge. And one says, yeah, you're still in charge. Now, the interesting thing is we see this at the park. You can see this dogs come together at the park, and there's this, and owners always say, you know, they'll say pretty much something along the lines of, oh, leave them to it, they'll sort it out. The question is, what are they sorting out? What's it? Well, it is, if you ask anyone, it says, oh, they're sorting out who's in charge. So we kind of instinctively know that's what's happening. And once they've sorted that out, they're pretty much fine. They get on. And it's so subtle. It's to do with who puts their head over who invades whose space, whose tail's up, whose tail's, who's dominant, who's submissive. Now, I'm not saying that your dog thinks that you're a dog. Your dog knows you're a human. You don't look like a dog. You don't smell like a dog. You don't walk like a dog. You don't talk like a dog. But your dog knows that some humans always check in above and some check in below. Some humans check in as leaders, and some humans check in as followers. Again, bringing it back to the doggy daycare and what I learned from Hudson. He knew the same thing. And what I loved was, what I really loved about this, I've never actually said it, what I loved about this dog is he acknowledged that I was above him. I've never said that. I've never actually realized that. That's what I really loved about him. That no one else at the doggy daycare understood how to clock in above Hudson. So no one else had the control of Hudson, but I did. Because I've studied what he was doing, and I did the same back to him. I ignored him. Pretty much this rule. And the next one. That was special. Because he's what we call a king dog. And I've had another king dog of my own, Jack. And I got a lot of videos of Jack inside my program. And you watched, he was a total king dog. Yeah, sorry, just having a moment going back to dear Jack. No one could control it. He wouldn't. If he'd been in somebody else's house, he was, let me tell you the story. I'm getting a bit emotional, but I'm just remembering dear Jackie boy. When he was a pup, I saw him, and he was 12 weeks of age. And I've actually got a video of this in my program. At 12 weeks of age, a friend had Jack and brought him round to my house. She was going to see my mother-in-law, who ran Pilates classes up at the cottage on our land. And she said, I've got this new dog called Jack, his little puppy. He's a Catahoula cross, mixed breed. And she put him on the ground. And I have never, I've got 3,500 dogs in person. I've never seen a puppy as confident as this puppy. I mean, he was all of this big, you know, probably weighed, I don't know, 10 pounds. And then as my dogs tried to invade his space, he was like, rah, 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 rah. I can't remember. Is it on Scooby-Doo where there's a little Schnappy-Doo or something? It was like, nobody invades my space. I was like, And he was holding off my dogs, which were weighing 60 pounds, 70 pounds, 3 of them, big 60, 70-pound dogs. And he was holding all 3 of them off, like, respect my space. I may be young and little, but hey, I'm a king. And I said, whoever ends up with that dog better know what they're doing. And what happened was she eventually, at 8 months of age, she said, she said, I cannot handle this dog. I can't handle this pup. He's too much. And I thought, yeah, I can see. I knew. And I thought, if she gives it to anyone else, no one will handle him. So I took him. And I had him for 9-10 years before he passed away very suddenly. He had tumors, cancer in him. But that was an honor, again, to see one of the most dominant, powerful dogs when you understand how to connect with them. Even the most dominant, powerful dogs will kind of go, yeah, you're speaking my language. And I was also lucky enough to have a dog called Inca, who's one of the most nervous, fearful dogs in the world. And I won her heart. She was actually one of the, there's a picture of me holding a dog at the start of this webinar. That was Inca. You feel the soft, gentle, loving energy. So whatever dog you've got. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. So that's the third rule. Ignore the dogs. Make sure I've just, So what I want, let me just cover this one off. So make sure when you reunite with your dog, you ignore them. No touching, no eye contact or speaking until the dog's totally relaxed. Might take 2 minutes, 10 minutes, then wait, and then call them to you. And you can do mini separations where you go to the bathroom or you put the trash out or you check the bins. You can do that 5-10 times a day. That is so powerful. Whether you've been away for 8 hours at work or just 10 minutes, you go to put the trash out. When you reunite, ignore. Alrighty, so that's rule number 3. Now, rule number 4 is everything on your terms. And again, I did this with Big Hudson. I did this with Jack. I did this with Inca. All of this I've done with all my dogs. And it's that you should initiate all the pats and cuddles and affection. You see, nothing in life should be free. If your dogs are getting your pats and cuddles and affection and attention for free, if you're just giving it away, we got a bit of a problem. Or at least that's where the problem can kind of, that's where it's almost like, that's what's causing some of the issues that you may be experiencing. Because your dog is not just saying, I love you. They're invading your space. They're demanding your pats and cuddles. And when you do what they say, you're almost like their number one servant. So the thing is to realize, guys, with all these rules, think of them as like 5 holes in a boat. If you want to stop the boat from filling up with water and sinking, and you block up 4 of the holes, there's still a hole in the boat. The boat still fills with water and still sinks. You got to do all of these. Your dog knows all of them. So you do all of them. The boat stops filling with water. Boat stops sinking. But if you do 4 or 3, it doesn't work. So just think of it like that. It's not like a smorgasbord, as we call it in the UK, or a buffet, as I think you call it in the US. Smorgasbords and buffets, you go down and you have a little bit of this, a bit of that. No, I don't like that. Leave that one to today. No, this is where you've got to have everything. That'd be horrible at a buffet or a smorgasbord. I get it. But the point is, you've got to do all of this. And so you might be thinking, oh, rule 3 is tough, and I'm not sure on rule 4. This is what's best for your dog. It's not always what you want to do. It's what's best for your dog. Now, here's an analogy which will help this land. Because I often say to people, your dog loves you, but them coming up and sitting on your foot, leaning against you, sticking their head between your legs, demanding a pat, demanding a cuddle, telling you to throw the ball is not love. That's not a sign of love. That's just them telling you what they want you to do. It's a bit like if I go up to my wife and I say, hey, babe, I got sore shoulders. Just massage my shoulders. Well, it's because I love you. My wife ain't stupid. She's not like, oh, wow, feel so lucky that I'm able to massage your shoulders, that you love me. She's not stupid. She knows that's not love. I'm just telling her what to do. And when your dog walks up to you, it's the same sort of thing. They're invading your space. They're controlling your space. And if they can control your space, they're far more likely to protect your space. So out there, they'll be far more protective, far more dominant, protecting your space. Like, I'm going to go run up to that dog and check it out. Or far more, I'm scared because I'm going to basically have to protect you. If this dog gets any closer, I'm going to stop. Space is massively important. It's a bit like you don't go up to your boss on a Monday morning, put your arm around them and go, hey, did you have a good weekend, boss? And ruffle their hair and give them a squeeze. No, that's not okay by any stretch of the imagination. Invading space of somebody above you in the hierarchy is pretty serious. So the way that the dogs see it, this hierarchy is very clear. It's more like the military. You don't tell the people above you what to do. There's a chain of command, so to speak. So that's the fourth rule, guys. And now those first four rules are all in and around the house. You get those right before you move into the fifth one. The fifth one is the walk. The thing about the walk is you win or lose the walk before you leave the house. And what I mean by that is it's no good getting to the park. Think of your dog on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the dog's in the crazy, 10, 9, 8 is the red zone, crazy zone. Dog's off the charts, excited and barking and terrified and just stressed, high level. 1, 2, or 3 is where your dog's relaxed and calm and listening. You want your dog at the park to be at a 1, 2, or 3. You know, nobody's ever complained, my dog's so calm, I've got a problem, my dog's so relaxed at the park, what do I do? That's why I called it the dog calming code, because nobody has a problem with everyone's dog needs to be a little bit calmer. I want my dog to chill out. So you want your dog at a 1, 2, or 3 as you're walking to the park. You want your dog at a 1, 2, 3 as you leave the house. You want your dog at a 1, 2, or 3 as you put the leash on. So work backwards like that. And what I want you to do is wait for their energy to drop. So at every stage, you pick the leash up. And if their dog's energy goes from a 1 to a 5, don't put the leash on, because that would be rewarding them for the wrong behavior. That would be locking in that energy, excitement. What I want you to do is basically, you don't put the leash on, you just wait. So, and you practice this in the garden first. It says it there, lounge, garden, and driveway. Practice inside the house first. I want you to just wait if the dog isn't calm, like 5 or 10 seconds. Just hold the leash, put it back in your pocket, or postpone the walk. So go and have a cup of tea. Or cancel the walk. Do it again later in the day. But don't just keep progressing. Don't just keep going. If they're pulling you, if they're getting excited, if they're pulling you towards the door and they're excited going, don't let them get to the door, because that'll be locking in that 5 or 6 or 7 energy. And if you then open the door, they're at an 8, they're squeezing through and you're locking it in, you're rewarding the wrong behavior. So what I want you to do instead is take the leash off and maybe, sorry, let me just, what I want you to do is take the leash off and practice in the house first. So you walk around the house without the leash on, and you might have some little treats. And what you can do is you have the little food treats in your hand and you pat your thigh and you say walk or heel, and you walk around making sure the dog actually knows what it is that you want. That's the first thing. So you know that when you say walk or heel, the dog actually understands what you're asking for. And then you basically just practice that, but don't just progress. And when you're going outside the house as well, there's lots of tricks and exercises you can do just to keep the dog in check. For example, as you go through the front door, turn the dog and go back inside. I call it the 1 yard walk. And these exercises and practices are all in my program. You see me doing it. Your dog's charging through the door, and we stop, we turn around, because he's gone from 0 to a level 6. We turn him around, bring him back in. Or we take him outside onto the driveway and he's starting to pull. We turn him around, and then we carry on walking. So I call that the donut. There's so many little exercises like that. But the bottom line is, don't keep progressing as you get ready for the walk, as you leave the house, as you walk up the driveway, and let your dog get too excited. Bring them back to calm. So that's the 5th rule. And those 5 rules they make up the dog calming code. You feed the dog, control the food. You make all the decisions around danger. You say to the dog, I'll decide what's dangerous. You then decide when you connect with your dog after a separation. All the pats and cuddles are then on your terms, number 4. And number 5 is walking the dog. You decide, you're in charge. It's like you say, hey, I'm in charge at home, and I'm in charge when we go for a walk as well. That is the dog calming code, and that solves all this stuff. It's the foundation of all this stuff. I've worked with people who had 2 sheets of A4. They're like, oh, my dog does this, and he jumps up and he counter surfs and he doesn't listen, he doesn't come, and he's got nervousness, and he barks in the car, and he lunges at dogs, and he barks at people, and he won't switch off, and he follows us. And I said, okay, let's just put those 2 sheets down. Let's go through these 5 rules, because you put them in place, you'll have a different dog. And just in the consult, everything changes. I'm only there for 2 hours, and everything changes in that consult, because we're addressing the root cause, and the root cause of all those issues, even separation anxiety and stuff like that, is this: who's in charge? So just imagine you put that in place, and as with thousands of clients that I've worked with, you just have this calm dog. You're not actually, it's not so much about what you do when the dog gets excited and stressed. You just have a dog who doesn't get that stressed anymore. They're no longer reactive. You take them to a place where maybe they were lunging at people and nervous and tail was under or tail was up or they were barking. And there's cars going by and they're just not barking at them. There's people walking past and they're relaxed. They're a different dog. And people actually start saying, what did you do? Is this the same dog? Is this Bella? It doesn't seem like Bella. Different dog today. How come? What have you done? And you know what you've done. And they're a happier dog. So you take them to the park and they're relaxed as well. They're not trying to run away, get out of the park. They're not kind of charging towards other dogs, trying to attack other dogs. They're not barking. They're not stressed. They're in their own little world, sniffing the ground, maybe wanting to go and play. And you don't have to teach. You don't have to teach your dog to play. People think you have to teach the dog. Once they don't have that responsibility, they're just a different dog. They're calm around people. Just like a human can if you go to a party or you're with other people and you're very, very stressed and tense and you got stuff on your mind and you're upset about stuff, it's hard to interact. But when you're really happy and relaxed, maybe you sat on a beach and you're just it's easy to relax and get on with people. Much easier. You don't have to be taught how to do it. You go, oh, I'm feeling relaxed. I feel relaxed here. It's okay. Same with your dog. You can see that they're happier. They sleep more. They play more. They're just a different dog, calm around people, around objects. And of course, that means that you're this proud owner. You know what you've done. You know you're a good dog owner. You know. And you can even spot people who don't know. You go, I know that person hasn't got a clue, unfortunately. And so you start enjoying your dog again without all the stress, without the embarrassment. You let your dog off the leash at the park without any worry. You can trust them. And you're able to relax. You can take them to the park, let them off. You can take them to the cafe. You tie them up around your chair leg, knowing they're not going to pull you off your chair or knock the table over if a car goes by or a dog or a person comes too close. You're a proud dog owner. You can relax and enjoy them. And so this is the missing link, guys, that I've shared with thousands and thousands of people. The question is, what is it worth to transform your dog using this, to put it in place properly and powerfully? So you have a completely different dog for the rest of your life, where you can enjoy them and where your dog can be happy, where you know what you're doing. You've got a program and a roadmap and you can watch it being done properly. Because sure, you got two options. You can go and just say, right, well, thanks, Dan. That was a good freebie. I'll take some of that and put it in place. Yeah, go for gold. I mean, I'm happy for you to do that. You'll get some changes, but you will get nothing like the transformation that you get if you put in place and watch the videos that I've created, where you get to see the dog calming code, the cake, being put into place at people's houses with different dogs in consults. So very, very nervous dogs, very, very dominant dogs, dogs who are attacking TVs, dogs who are lunging at other dogs. I've got 5 different situations where the dogs are biting and attacking people. There's Chihuahuas. Let me get this right. There was Chihuahuas. There was Jack Russells. There was an American Bulldog. There's a Black Labrador. All of them trying to attack and bite and being reactive to people. I show you exactly what to do to calm it down. You let the dogs off the leash. They meet me. You see me working with so many different situations of dogs in the Solve Reactivity and Aggression course, which is like the frosting. What do you do when a dog starts to move towards another dog or bark? I've got it all covered. Now, all of that together, if you take all those programs, normally, guys, it'd come to about $807. Because it's $197 just for the dog calming code. $97 for each of those courses and programs. But I promised you something amazing, and that's what we've done. It's normally, when we sell it, it's normally $297. So the value is $807. We sell it for $297, which is amazing value. But today we're taking $200 off. It's just $97. So $200 saving today, guys. It's just $97. That's for all of the dog calming code, that whole program, all the videos of me putting each of the rules in place. You can sit and watch it. You see where it can go wrong, what to do if the dog does this, all the different things where things can happen and go a little bit pear-shaped. I show you exactly what to do. And if you want to save $200 and get it for $97, all you do is click here to stop reactivity. So you click that button there. It's $97 today. It's an amazing saving. It works out at just $8 per month, guys. So over a 12-month period, it's about $8 to have a different dog, to do it properly. So you don't end up going, I think I'm doing it right, but I'm not sure. Dog didn't eat all of his food today. Do we leave it down? We pick it up, and then when you pick it up, the dog starts barking. I've gone through all of that. I know what happens. You put the dog's food back down, and the dog walks off, and you go, "Well, hang on, he's barking if we pick it up, and if we put it." What do you do when you got two dogs fighting in the same house? We got you covered. We got that whole program. It's got videos of it. What do you do if your dog's, I don't know, lunging at a cat or barking at the fence line? How do you put the dog in timeout? We can show you. I show you all my tricks and tools and techniques for solving all these problems. Now, it's $97 today, guys. When you get access today, we used to do a monthly fee and then we did an annual fee, but today it's $97, guys. You get lifetime access. So you get lifetime access, guys, to all of the dog calming code and solve reactivity and aggression. That's it. You don't pay any more. Now, I want to show you inside the program just to give you an idea of exactly what you're getting. You click here to stop reactivity, guys. If you want to get hold of it today, right now, click here, get it for $97 before it goes back up to $297. If you click here to stop reactivity, it won't shut down this webinar, guys. It'll just open up in a separate tab. In fact, you can do that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to inside the program. Here we go. So let me share with you. This is inside. This is what 100,000 people have seen this program. Quite amazing, eh? So you're now looking inside the membership site of the Dog Calming Code. So basically, this is rule number 1. So this is just rule number 1, guys. And you can see me working with different dogs. I'll turn the volume down here. Golden rule number 1, feeding the dogs. So you see me working with this dog. He was an absolute classic, or she was, I should say. You see, she found this little piece of pig's ear that she's chewing there. You probably can't see it. It might be a small video, but the bottom line is I go through loads of stuff, including things like power gesture eating. This is where you take gesture eating to the next level. You break it into 3 portions. I haven't got time to go into it today, but that's the sort of thing that's covered off. This was me gesture eating to a pit bull through the window to make it safe because he was pretty full on. That's just rule 1. Rule 2, same thing. There's a whole load of videos, probably 15 minutes of videos of me working with dogs, putting rule 2 in place. This is at somebody's house where the dog was barking at the car and we had to put the doggy in timeout. It shows me putting the timeout. I'm not going to go into all of these, but just whiz through them. There's videos here on rule 3, rule 4, and rule 5. And in each of these rules, there's so many videos which shows you how to do it properly, how to take it to the next level. Because as with anything, you can do it badly or you can do it well. This dog is waiting to have the leash put on. You can see this dog was out of control. They couldn't walk this dog. It wouldn't come when called. It was a nightmare on the leash. And I show you how to get the dog totally calm and relaxed before we leave the house. And I go through, with everything, I go through multiple different situations, multiple different dogs, big dogs, little dogs, using different, approaches to get every dog under control. They're the 5 rules. Then you also get solve reactivity and aggression. And this is next level videos and courses on all the issues. That was the cake. This is the frosting. So you might have 2 dogs living together and there's aggression. Not many people handle this stuff. This is a beautiful picture. This is actually the pit bull and the Jack Russell licking each other in the consult. When I got there, they were separated. The pit bull was chewing a tire. He was hanging off the ground. She was, I should say. So she's a female, he's a male. By the end of the session, they were calm as can be. So I go through dominance in dogs living together where there's aggression. I go through people aggression. Here's the Jack Russells I was talking about, the Chihuahuas, the American Bulldog. And that's him on a chain when I turned up. And that's him. We got him off the leash. Black Labrador. So 4 different situations of people aggressive dogs. We did a big consult on this dog because he was aggressive towards dogs. We've got dog aggression on the walk. So loads of different situations where dogs were being aggressive to other dogs. And I show you exactly how to handle it, when to use the leash, when to let them off, when to step in, when to put them in timeout, when to do a calm freeze or a stick trick. Lots of different tricks and techniques. Imagine somebody showing you exactly what to do in every situation, hand holding you. So you can just sit and watch all of this in your time and go, oh, I see what you're doing. And you get all the answers. Dominance in dogs, meeting, greeting, all of that. And then we've also got aggression towards animals. She was attacking cats. This dog's got 3 legs. He was attacking horses. We've got dogs attacking vacuum cleaners. And these 2 boys, I think these 2 boys were attacking the television. Look at them. And, I go through it and, calm them down. and they totally switched off. Right. There you go. Different dogs. Have a look at them now. Look at that. There you go. They just switched off, walked away. Now, so if you're interested in getting hold of it, you click on that link, click here to stop reactivity, and all you do, it'll take you to this page here. You can do that now, guys. You can click here to stop reactivity, that black button, or click the link that Graham will be putting in the chat. It'll take you here, and all you do is put your email address in, first name, last name. It converts it to your currency. So that 167 is NZ. NZ is for New Zealand. I'm in New Zealand. So if you're in America, it'll say 97. If you're in UK, it'll be British pounds, Aussie dollars or Canadian dollars. And that's it. All you do, put your details in there. Put your card number in there, 16 digits. You put that there, expiry date, month, and year. CVC. And as I said before, you get access to this for life, guys. You can dip in a bit today, a bit more next week, next month, in 6 months' time, do a refresher, share it with your partner so everyone's on the same hymn sheet. Now, you might be wondering what these are. Stay on track is for those people who love something which is step-by-step tailored, where we check up on you kind of almost, it's an email or a video almost every day for 3 months. And it's not that it takes 3 months, but some people like to be checked up on and reminded and double checked. Have you done this in a very kind of linear fashion? So you're not kind of just going in there and binge watching and jumping around the program. You're basically saying, hey, do this, make sure you've done this. Have you done rule 1? Double check. So that's 3 months of videos and emails. It's $27. If you want to get hold of that, just click on there. It's optional. You don't have to. And the dog calming code is just $7. We create that as a separate audio program so you can listen in your car, listen to the audio. It's 1 hour. It's super powerful, super fun. I delivered it in 1 session. So it's pretty much what I would normally share with people in a consultation. In 1 hour, I gave it all the details. You know, even that is a lot more than just what I've been able to share today. And you click on that, $7. Both of those are normally twice that price. Today, 50% off. You press place order now, and you come down here, testimonials, thousands of testimonials we've got. Okay, hopefully that is making sense. I'm going to stop that share. There you go. So if that makes sense, guys, click here to stop reactivity. Get hold of the program today. Let me carry on. Hang on. Where do I go? I need my... Oh, yeah. So lifetime access. So this isn't a monthly fee. There's no annual fee. $3 a month. I don't know about America, but over here, that's like a coffee and a donut, you know? 1 coffee and a donut, or 2 coffees and 2 donuts a month. If you can cut back on something like that, you can get hold of this program. Now, the coffee and the donuts, well, I don't know about you, but it's a constant battle for me. I probably don't need 2 donuts, and I probably don't need the coffee. The point I'm making is coffee and the donuts, that sort of thing, $8 a month. You find that somewhere over the course of a year, and you can transform your dog. And it's these decisions where you go, I can feel there's something powerful here. I'm going to make this step because I want a different life. I'm not happy with how my life is right now. I want to give my dog the best experience on planet Earth ever. And it's up to you. It's up to you to go, I'm going to do this. Now, one thing is the price goes back up. In just a couple of days, it goes back up to $297. So if you want to get it at this price, don't hang around. Don't think I'm going to wait, because it's going to go up. You literally got to get it now, or in a couple of days' time, it's going to go up. The other thing, guys, is a lot of people go, oh, I'm just not sure. So we've made it that there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Have a look. Nothing to lose. If you're not completely happy, if you don't like my hair, don't like my voice, whatever, just send us an email. Let us know you want your money back. No questions asked. All good. No problem. We can still part as friends. You'll have got a ton of information. You'll have got a ton. Your dog will be better off. You'll be better off. I'm just happy that you've benefited. Now, one thing that you might be wanting, which we have found over the years, because we've been doing this 17 years, the same 5 rules as 17 years ago when we started. One thing is, a lot of people, when you have a question, you want it answered like on that day. You want it answered straight away. So what happens is you kind of want to know where there's a video, or you want to know my dog's situation is this. You know, I've got a little dog called Claudia, and she's a Tibetan Mastiff, and she jumps on the bed and she barks at squirrels at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we can't push her off the bed because she's so big, and she grizzles at us. And you want a tailored solution. And so what we've got is we've got certified trainers in this method who understand this method inside out, and they can come up with solutions and suggestions and videos for you to watch and things for you to do and try. So if you want to get hold of that, it's not any more money. It's not $100 a month. It's not $100 for the year. It's free. Included in this offer today is that access to those trainers through the forum, the Doggy Dan community forum. All your questions answered, tailored solutions. You get answers for free. So you're not going to be stuck going, I don't know what to do next, or what should I do? They're there to help. That alone, guys, is worth more than $97. That's a lot of value. People love it. It's so valuable. That's the currency roughly, approximately. But the best thing to do is just click here at stop reactivity. It'll give you the exact amount in your currency when you click here at stop reactivity. So click on that now. Before I finish this webinar, so you've got that link in your browser. Warning, your dog's playing this game. One thing I want to remind you of is that the dogs know all of these rules, guys. So in the same way as it's like you might, like when you play chess, I play chess against my son sometimes, and I used to win all the time because he wasn't great, and he was very, very young, and I thought I was good. But if I then play somebody who's really good, like a grandmaster, I don't stand a chance. It's a bit like that with your dog. Realize that your dog is more like a grandmaster at this. So your dog's playing an A game. You need to play an A+ to really win this. And I'm just saying, if you've got a smart dog, tenacious dog, high energy dog, a stubborn dog, a strong-willed dog, a dog who's got serious reactivity issues going on, you need to play this really well. You can't fudge this. You can't muck this up. You can't kind of do 4.5 rules and expect to win. And whenever somebody gets stuck, and whenever it, quote, doesn't work, what I've found, because I speak to a lot of people on the phone to support people after that I've been to see them, I go through the 5 rules, and literally they haven't been doing one right. And I'm able to pick up on that. And that's what the forum is able to do. People are able to say, well, hang on, what are you doing there? Hang on. And we can catch it. So you got to do this well. A bit like chess. You got to be better than the other person to win. Thousands of reviews. You get the idea. Inside every dog is a good dog. Inside every good dog is a great dog. I mean, it's odd. The way I see it is it's our job to figure out how to be the best dog owners, dog parents for our dogs. We all want to be part of the solution. We all want to be part of this. Yep, I know what I'm doing. I'm a good dog owner. But sometimes you see a dog reacting in strange ways or letting you down, and it's embarrassing. It can be scary. It's, you know, your dog's overreacting. It makes you question your identity as a good dog owner, and I get it. And the thing is, you know, the solution is here to understand your dog in a totally different way. For just $97, you can literally go, now I get dog. And, you know, I'll be honest, one of the things when I'm on my deathbed in many, many years' time, I'll lie there going, one of the greatest things that I did, that I managed to do, was to understand dogs and help people understand dogs, because it's like next level. It's like saving lives. It's literally saving. I mean, I've saved hundreds of dogs from being euthanized because they literally said, there's nothing we can do. We've been to all these other trainers, nothing works. And I've been able to say to them, just put this in place, changes the dog's life. So if you can just save one dog, I would say it's worth it. That's how I see it, guys. Now, a lot of you have already got hold of this program. Super happy for you. When you get sent the email, it may end up in your spam folder. So check your spam, check your junk. It should take 5-10 minutes max, but sometimes you may end up with one of those emails that goes around. And we had that this morning. My wife and I were looking at something, we're trying to send it. So it can go round and around the world before it decides to land. Don't worry about it. It's coming. Don't panic. Righty, I'm going to jump into the chat in a second to answer your questions. Will this work for my type of dog? It works for all dogs, guys. I really can't stress this enough. You might have a pack of dogs, 8 dogs at home. Yep, it works. Young puppy, 12 weeks old. Older dog, 14 years old. All breeds of dogs. Yeah. Chihuahua, Cane Corso, rescue dogs, all of them. And what problem does it work for? It helps with every single behavioral issue. The reactivity training obviously is specific to reactivity. So dogs fighting in the same house, aggressive dogs, dominant, fearful, probably guarding, jumping up, front door dramas, barking in the car, pulling on the leash, lunging, attacking other animals, all that stuff. It's all covered. And the final kind of question, I've got 2 slides on this. How long does it take? It's like how long is a piece of string, but nearly always within a week or 2, if you haven't got a phenomenal result, something's up, and that's when you got to get in touch in the forum. So the reason I say that is because we nearly always see massive results within a week. You see changes within a day. This doesn't take long. It's 10 times quicker than most training. So within a day or 2, you should see changes. Within a week, you'll know you're there. So how long does it take? That is not uncommon. And within 1 week, the difference in my 2 cockapoos was amazing. Not uncommon. Excuse me. Next slide. How long does it take? And it works quickly. My Feisty Border Collie puppy is already calmer after 1 day. So I'm sharing these slides just to share with you. This is not uncommon. We see this all the time. People getting phenomenal results very, very quickly. And we've seen more results in less than 1 week than we did in 2 full 6-week dog training classes. That's 12 weeks of training. People see more results in this training. Super simple. So check your spam, check your junk. You save $200 today, guys. It's down to from $297 down to just $97. This webinar special is $200 off. You get lifetime access, no more charges, just a one-off charge, then no more. 4-day sale. The price does go back up in a couple of days' time, and you get 30 days money back guarantee. So that's the Doggy Dan promise. You got nothing to lose. You can watch the program. People don't ask for their money back because they love the program. So even though you'll get a result within a week or 2 or a few days, you'll be like, I want to keep this program for my next dog, for my next puppy, because I want to refresh it and share it with my partner. And I want to get the kids to watch it. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's really good stuff. So if you're sat on the fence, guys, still going, I just don't know. I don't know. Then ask the question, which will help me help you decide whether it's a yes or a no. It doesn't matter. Just let's get you off the fence, make the right decision. I mean, the thing is, guys, what I will leave you with before I answer your questions is I know that it may be, you may be thinking, I think I can do this on my own. I do that all the time. I watch programs and some of them, yeah, maybe you can get some good results. This one, you'll probably get some results. But at $97, the value inside is life-changing, not just for you, but also for your dog. And you know, when you get lifetime access, this is a bit of a journey. You see massive changes in the first week or 2, but if you stick with the program and you keep reviewing it and go, oh, hang on, we're still making a mistake. Or after 3 months, you realize you've actually drifted from what happened. If you don't have this program with us supporting you, keeping you back on track, you do get lost. You get lost in the weeds, you forget, you start doing things wrong. You end up doing things wrong for weeks and months. You don't even realize it. But with us here, with the videos, you can refer them back and going, hang on. So that's how it works. Alrighty, let me stop sharing and let me just jump into the chat, answer your questions, and then we're done. So this, like I say, is not a place for me to give you answers for your dog reactivity problems. If you want answers because you're feeling like, yeah, this makes sense, get the program. I can't make it any easier than that. Yep. Has anybody got a question about buying the program? I'm not going to go into solving dog reactivity issues by talking about them here right now. It just doesn't work. I've done it before. We go down rabbit holes and then everyone's like, I've got a dog called Tiddles. Tiddles likes to chew the lead when he sees a cat. Now, because then I end up explaining stuff. And what's way more powerful? There's 2 things. There's 2 reasons why it's not good. One is because the solution is not for me to go, hey, this is how you stop Tiddles from chewing his leash. You could do this. You could put a metal chain there, or you could say no, or try that. One is it's ridiculous, me trying to talk you through that when there's actually videos of me that you could watch. It's way more powerful to watch the videos. The other thing is the solution is, like I've been saying on this webinar, is to put the 5 rules in place. Put the 5 rules in place, and then you just find these dogs stop chewing the leash. They stop pulling on the leash. They stop doing all that stuff. You need a little bit of belief. You need a little bit of trust. I know sometimes this can be like, well, what are you saying? You're saying if I control the food, ignore the dog, do the separation thing after danger, then my dog will be a different dog. Will be calmer on the leash. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you a quick story, which will help with this land. I worked with one dog where the guy said my dog had separation anxiety. I went to work with him. Dog's chewing through a door this thick. Dear dog, stressed out of its mind, just puddles of drool and chewing all day. And the doors were $3,000. He said so. It's pretty gutted. Anyway, I shared it in this. He put it in place. About a week or two later, he rings me up to say, "Hey, separation anxiety." Oh no, he emailed me. Separation anxiety sorted, and the dog reactivity and aggression stopped as well. I was like, I didn't know the dog had reactivity. So I rang him up. I said, "What's the reactivity?" He said, "Oh, the dog was attacking other dogs, couldn't let him off leash, was attacking the cows." I said, "What's happened now?" He says, "Dog's perfect." I said, "What did you do?" He said, "Just the 5 rules, just the dog coming out." So I didn't. This is the cake. You got to put the cake in place and stop focusing on the frosting and the icing. So what nearly all of you are kind of thinking about is, how do I stop this? What frosting and icing should I do? And I'm going, no, forget the frosting and icing. Make a beautiful cake. Put it in place for a week, maybe a week or two. You'll have a different dog. Hope that makes sense. Alrighty. Will it address random growls when somebody pets our dog? Yes, Deirdre, but also I'll share with you why it's happening and help you understand what not to do and the things that you're doing to set your dog up to fail, Deirdre. Got a big passion for that. Because part of what's going on, if the people are approaching your dog, it's not okay. It's not the right approach. So there's stuff you want to change there. I always say, if you have got an aggressive dog towards people, then this is about the best money you can spend, because this will help you understand your dog for $97. You could spend, I'll be honest, I know people who spent thousands of dollars. There was one lady who uses this method now. She spent thousands of dollars with probably the top trainer in New Zealand, where I live. The dog was attacking people. Then the door opened, the dog lunged, bit the man. Nobody invaded the king's space, and the dog was protecting the house. So, yes. Can I spank my dog with my stick? No. You don't need to spank your dog with the stick. That's the beauty of this method. It's not about hitting the dog or smacking the dog. It's about, I call it loving leadership. Here's what I love of my kids. I've never smacked my kids, never had to smack them. But they love us. They're 14 and 13 years old now. They follow us. It's because of this loving leadership that we've developed with the children. Same with the dogs. They choose to follow you. They choose to listen. And you take away the underlying cause that's creating all the problem. What if I'm training my dog and people want to pat him? So, Roz, this is getting into the weeds here, but basically you can put a jacket on which says my dog's under training. You just ask people, please don't touch my dog. He's being trained. That's the best you can do, or you can move away. But I spank my kids, laugh out loud. Yeah. Hey, I was spanked as a kid a couple of times. I turned out all right. Thank you, Philip. It's all good. Mike, thank you. Yeah, I think I've answered all those questions. That's good. Cool, guys. Hey, I think I've answered everybody's question. In the program, does it take on tugging? Tugging, can you clarify what tugging is? Tugging with a chew, whether or not tugging is good for the dog, or tugging on the leash? Tugging on, oh, yeah. Oh, Philip, there's probably 15 or 20 videos on stopping dogs from tugging and pulling. There's lots of, I mean, most of what happens outside the house is on a leash, and dogs are generally either pulling backwards or forwards. Yeah, so absolutely, yeah. All right, guys, because my dog keeps running and it hurts my arm. Oh, yeah. Oh, the injuries we can suffer from dogs pulling, especially if you've got a big dog. It's, yeah. like Graham says, big dogs can seriously injure you. You know, the money and stress and drama our dogs can cause us. I mean, let's be honest. I think the most expensive dramas I've seen was about $20,000-$30,000 because the dog had panicked and knocked a towel over, which had then blocked the plug hole, and it had accidentally turned the shower on, which had flooded the shower, flooded the upper story of the house, run down. So they'd spent $30,000-$40,000 drying the house out. But many people get injuries, they suffer stress, they stop enjoying their life, stop enjoying the relationship with the dog, stop enjoying taking the dog. They can't take the dog anywhere. They can't walk where they want to walk. You know, that you lose your social life. You know, you then end up with a vet bill, injuries. It's the massive cost. Whereas you can sort it all out. $97, guys. Works out at $8 a month. That's it. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. I'm going to apply these same training methods on my children. Get the audiobook, Philip. I think you'll enjoy it. There's a lot of powerful chapters in this book. It's not rocket science. Raising children and training dogs, controlling the environment, timeout's a beautiful thing, nature versus nurture, humans aren't logical. Lots of fascinating topics, but that's another thing. I'll buy the book too. Awesome. All right, I'll leave that all with you guys. Have a great day. Roz says my internet was unstable. I will rewatch to get full understanding. All right, guys. Much love. Have a great day. Click the link before we leave, and then you can get hold of that. Alrighty. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.